Look at the headlines today. Donald Trump says Europe is facing civilizational erasure. He says the continent will be unrecognizable in 20 years. He talks about migration as if it is an invading army, and then he announces a national security strategy that abandons NATO, threatens the EU, and somehow tries to influence European politics from the inside. And when I read it, I did not hear the voice of an ally. I heard something else. I heard ideas that would damage Europe far more deeply than anything coming from the outside, the kind of ideas that weaken us at our most vulnerable points, the kind of ideas that take Europe's existing problems and turn them into a crisis. And I speak as a Portuguese who has seen what Europe really looks like from the inside, not from a podium in Washington. Let me start with a simple truth. Europe has a demographic problem, not a cultural one, a demographic one. We do not have enough people. We do not have enough workers. We do not have enough young families. We do not have enough contributors to pay for pensions, hospitals, and social services. This is not theory. This is daily life. I see it in Portugal every time I come home. Walk through Lisbon, walk through Porto, walk through the Algarve. Who is working in restaurants, cafes, agriculture, hotels, supermarkets, construction, delivery, cleaning, elderly care? It is Brazilians, Cape Verdeans, Angolans, Guineans, Nepalese, Indians, Bangladeshis. Without them, the Portuguese economy collapses before sunset. The same is true in Spain. The same is true in Italy. Even Germany, for all its pride and its efficiency, is desperate for foreign workers. So when Trump says Europe needs to stop migration to save Europe, I have to laugh to stop myself from crying. Because if Europe stops migration, Europe does not get saved. Europe dies. The continent becomes a retirement home in slow motion. Pensions run out. Services collapse. Companies close. Villages empty out. You do not save a civilization by draining it of people. And this is why I say something that will sound harsh. Trump is parroting slogans that sound like they were written by someone who wants Europe weak, someone who understands our weaknesses perfectly and uses them against us, someone who knows that Europe without migration is finished, someone who knows that Europe without NATO is exposed, someone who knows that European far-right movements are emotional, nostalgic, and completely unprepared for the real demographic future of the continent. Maybe Trump thinks he is helping conservatives in Europe. But these movements are not strong enough to save Europe. They are strong enough to break it. They offer identity instead of policy, pride instead of planning, panic instead of strategy. They speak about returning to some pure Europe that never existed. Meanwhile, our population is shrinking. Our workforce is shrinking. Our tax base is shrinking. Migrations keeps us alive. It keeps economies running. It pays pensions. It keeps nations functioning. And what worries me the most is this. Trump wants to step back from Europe as a security partner, but step inside Europe as a political influencer. He wants America to stop defending us, but continue shaping us. He wants to withdraw as an ally, but return as an agitator. That is not protection. That is destabilization. If a hostile strategist wanted to weaken Europe, this is exactly the formula they would choose. Tell Europeans to fear migrants, encourage far-right fragmentation, push governments into identity wars, break unity inside the EU, encourage NATO fatigue, turn the transatlantic link into a battlefield of suspicion. These ideas do not strengthen the West. They weaken it so deeply that recovery, becomes almost impossible. And as a Portuguese, I feel this tension in my own country. Portugal is peaceful. Portugal is open. Portugal is becoming prosperous again after a long period of stagnation, but this prosperity is built on the contributions of people who chose to come here, to work here, to raise families here. To tell Portugal that migration is dangerous is to tell Portugal to stop breathing. It is to tell us to close our future. Europe cannot pretend to be a fortress. Europe is an aging continent that survives because people from the outer come to help us build our own society. And the real danger is not migration. The real danger is a political fantasy that tells Europeans to fear what is actually saving them. Trump warns that Europe may become unrecognizable. Yes, Europe is changing, but it is changing because it has to. The alternative is decline, loneliness, and demographic collapse. You do not preserve a civilization by freezing it. You preserve it by giving it life. So when I read this national security strategy, I do not see a plan to protect Europe. I see a plan that would accelerate our decline if we followed it. I see a message that Europe must wake up, not into fear, but into reality. Our survival depends on people, on stability, on alliances, on cooperation, on the courage to adapt. And if the United States wants to be our partner, it should help us build that future, not push us into the illusions that have already ruined so many societies before. Thank you for watching. If you found this analysis useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and visit westernrelations.com for deeper political analysis from a European point of view. Thank you for watching.